Hello everyone, this is Nikki, also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the March 10, 2021 Global Market Update. So, today's topic, we're going to discuss, are there oversold opportunities left after Tesla's more than 20% rally last night? So you could see clearly that last night, March 9, 2021, the market actually took a look at whether we are long the Jetsons or the Flintstones. And for Awesome 10X, we believe that end of the day, we are long innovation. We are long EVs. We are long 5G. We are long eVTOLs, EV takeoff landing. We believe in the world of the future, the Jetsons, and we do not believe in investing in the Flintstones. So the thing about me is that I'm just really long the Jetsons. I'm not short the Flintstones. The Flintstones are your traditional economy. You've got the banks, you've got the energy financials. So those are your industrials, the Flintstones. Yes, there is a rotation right now happening from technology. Some of them are doing a reopening theme in their portfolios. But we believe in Awesome 10X that we stick to the Jetsons and we just go Jetsons cash, Jetsons cash. We don't go Jetsons to Flintstones and so forth. And I do believe that while Kathy Wood got criticized for her investment style, we, however, in Faces Trader, this is my Twitter profile, we here in Awesome 10X believe that what she's doing is the right path. When the true flood really comes, I do believe that only ARK Invest and everyone inside survives. Only people who invest in innovation, disruptors, Awesome 10X companies have to be great. It doesn't have to be cheap. It could be a high growth company like a Tesla. And those people, those investors will be the one who survives any sort of financial crisis. And what a rebound last night was. ARK ETF was rising 10%. You've got the ARK-K. ARK Genomic was also up 7.65%, a very strong rebound indeed for the ARK Invest funds after getting a lot of indicators saying, like some technicians were saying that ARK Invest shouldn't be managing money. We disagree. ARK, the ETF, is one of the best funds that people who are lazy enough to manage their money should entrust their money into, even if I am not an affiliate of ARK Invest. So I do look at a lot of ARK investment moves, and I do agree with what they're doing. So just a sneak peek, you've got people hyperventilating about the Treasury yields. Let's take a look at the huge chart. In the last 10 years, from 2011 to 2021, you are seeing that since 2012, the 10-year Treasury yield stayed actually at a peak of just 3.03% and a low of 0.5%. At 1.5%, people are panicking. It's two things. It's either you think about 1.5%, a triple from 0.5, or you think of it as half of 3. Now, granted, let's say that this government yield does increase to 2%. I do think that within a decade, there's so much innovation happening from 2020 to 2030 that a Treasury yield in spike is just going to add into the volatility, which everyone should embrace. Embrace the volatility. Extensions have to be sold. But if it's not extended, if it's crashing on an oversold region, then it's not oversold. It should be bought. So my idea, and like what I've always said and always said, diversify exposure to structural growth themes. What are these structural growth themes? Very simply, Awesome 10X believes in investing in e-commerce. Your e-commerce could be exemplified by your Shopify, your C Limited, your Mercado Libre, your Amazon, your Pinduoduo, your JD, and so forth. It could even be companies that are supplementing these e-commerce. How about WeCommerce in Canada? Or how about companies that are adding e-commerce? One would say that Twitter is adding e-commerce, which is a social media right now that's also doing e-commerce. How about Facebook? Facebook is doing a lot in its e-commerce, right? Now, streaming platforms, new entertainment, it's a lot. Would I invest in Agora, which is doing live streaming platforms for all the companies like Clubhouse, for companies like Unity, as varied as your Huya? Yes, that is one. How about the new entertainment, the esports industry? You could invest in something like an esports format in your portfolio that could be exemplified by a Doyu, by a Huya, which is going to get merged, or something like a Belly or a YY. Now, of course, there's a lot of companies, so I won't reiterate all companies right now, but you could see that sectors that we believe in, at the very least, e-commerce, streaming, esports, blockchains, payments, social media, digital advertising, enterprise software, cloud computing, 5G, direct-to-consumer, food delivery, ARMS, ride-hailing, millennials, the Generation Z, the screen agers, the Instagrammies, what are they doing? Robotics, AI, automation, telematics, ADAS, that would be advanced driverless assistance systems, haptics, genome sequencing, immunotherapy, genetic editing, OMO, which means online merge offline, whether it be education, primarily education, remote work. How about your video conferencing or all the productivity tools, your cybersecurity? Those are all falling into your remote work. Your SaaS names are mostly remote work. Plant-based, that could be a plant-based cigarette. It's a plant-based milk, a plant-based meat, a plant-based drink, a plant-based whatsoever. Precision ag tech, that's what we're talking about, the controlled environment agriculture, that is indoor farming, that's called precision ag tech. Globalization, athleisure, vanity, self-driving cars, lidars, drones, eVTOLs, clean renewable energy. Clean renewable energy could fall under many forms. It could be solar, it could be biomass, could be wind, could be nuclear, geothermal, etc. Crazy rich Asians, how do you play the Chinese, the Indians, the Southeast Asian economy? Those are played into either e-commerce or so much more. So those are structural growth themes that we believe in that will last for the next 10 years, whether the markets are hyperventilating over the 1.5 Treasury yield rate, whether it goes 2% and whatsoever. What the rise in interest rates means for markets, there are actually a lot of YouTube articles that YouTube videos that show to you. This is a CNBC video about that, but it's really at the end of the day, this is a 4-minute video. I don't think that I should discuss what you could watch yourself. But what it just does is volatility. End of the day, interest rates are just a volatility, because everybody knows that a valuation model would use your risk-free rate, and your treasury yield is a denominator in the risk-free rate. Supposedly, the higher the interest rates, the lower the equities go. But if you really think about it, wouldn't you actually, if you were buying technology, growth would actually play a more crucial role rather than the inflation rate, rather than these treasury yields, I think. Now, there are also a lot of strategies right now. It's like Goldman Sachs. You could see that they're talking about the long-term opportunities, such as the SPACs post the deals. So NASDAQ is having their best day since November 4, yesterday. And there are people like strategists that are long a lot of companies that they call the Barbell Strategy, meaning they're buying companies that they believe have lagged, companies like Facebook, companies like Nvidia, companies like Qualcomm, American Tower, because versus the cash flows and growth that they have, they're actually lagging. So these are not necessarily high growth, but they're actually growing a lot. And GM is actually something that I believe as well, General Motors. This is a company that owns a lot of stakes in the EV sector, electric vehicles via GM Cruise, the Active. GM has a Wuling Motor stake. So indeed, for people to value GM at a stark discount versus the other EVs, I would agree with some of the firm's calls on actually buying some laggers that do not believe in that mode. Took a look at some people. There is actually some CNBC videos wherein Josh Brown shared that he's long Starbucks, Shake Shack, SLV, which is silver. I don't know about the rest. SPG is Simon Property Group. Uber is a reopening taxi play, or a food hail, ride hailing delivery. Verizon, Zoom Video. So you could see that some people are sharing calls that are reopening themes. In terms of reopening, it is true that we have ourselves, we do have Starbucks and Shake Shack. Uber, we gave a buy call before, and we're actually up more than 100% already on these names. So we're not buying them today. We're not rotating on them today. We had them since last year. And in a way, the correction right now on high technology growth stocks is what actually I want, rather than buying extended names. If you're going to ask me what's an extended name, I'd even argue that, well, some of these names are actually more extended rather than technology, which is actually pulled back at a very good price. So some people discusses why they like PayPal and Zoom. I would agree with that. Zoom Video is trading at about $340. Sure, you can probably get it about 250 or 280 if you are lucky, but it is a long-term hold. Very strong numbers on your Zoom Video allows them to actually trade at that lofty valuation. So take a look at this chart of Zoom Video. Take note that yes, we've been long since 2020, since about $80 here. And you could see that we said that Zoom is deserving in your long-term portfolio, not your short-term portfolio. And we made a wrong call here, actually, in selling some Zoom Video shares at about 240, only to buy it back at about 330 and 360, actually. So we've been buying here, but we also felt that, hey, at about 550, what type of valuation are we talking about here? So at about 470, that was sold, all of the shares, 470 to 450, only to buy it back again at a more, discriminating level of about 340. $340 would assume something like a 30 times price to sales on Zoom Video, but 30 times price to sales on a company that's really highly predictable to have 5 billion, 4 billion, 6 billion revenues in a year and very strong cash flows to boot. I'd say that that is a cheap way to pay a company that has a very strong management and a very strong predictability of their cash flows, something that not all SaaS names can actually benefit from. And so we trade it as a range. You could see that for the last 6 months already, Zoom Video, since about September until today, which is already March, has been trading between 330 to 470. While there were extended outlier moves here to about 570, if 330 actually extends all the way to 250, again, I would have no problem buying Zoom Video. The lower it goes, the better I go. So assuming the next 3 days that Zoom Video actually collapses from 400, some people trade it on a lower high, but some people might actually just see, okay, if I'm not sure that it will go down to 300, I'll wait it out. So I think that in the short term, you could see that Zoom Video actually had a short-term low last night at about 330 below. You see that the bottom last night was 320. We actually bottomed out last Monday. So this is Tuesday in the Philippine terms, March 9. Today is March 10, which is Wednesday in the Philippine terms. We will actually perhaps go above 400, but I would assume that the people who are buying these days are also trimming at about 400. So if you're buying Zoom Video, just be aware that 400 above, you've got a seller, and about 330 all the way to 250, you do have a buyer. So around about $300, if you're looking to buy this, I think that about $300 or $290, if you're lucky, is a good area to buy your Zoom Video. Pintuotuo is a favorite of Awesome 10X. This is one of my 10X names, so how could I forget? Pintuotuo was a company I advocated as a buy in China. This is the third largest e-commerce. Second is JD, first is Alibaba. But there is a competition between JD and Pintuotuo. Nonetheless, I like all of them. But if I have to choose, Pintuotuo is my number one pick. Now, Pintuotuo has topped at about 210 and 190. Very predictable there. Had a strong rebound from 140, rallying 10% last night to 154. However, you could argue that, well, at the end of the day, in the next 3 months, I'd say that Pinduoduo would continue to fall. And this is a high growth name, agree. I would love to get Pinduoduo lower than 140 if I can. Meaning, I don't believe that the March 9 low for Pinduoduo is the actual low. I could be wrong. It could actually consolidate at a higher low, say 140 to 170, because of Pinduoduo's very strong strength. How many e-commerce do you know actually, even if you buy it on September, actually manage a 100% gain? Take note that Pinduoduo started $70 here and it's trading at 154. Your Nasdaq didn't grow from September till March 100%. It did not. It was just in a 20% range. This is telling you that Pinduoduo is outperforming your Nasdaq, and it's actually deserving because of their numbers. So to me, their numbers, Pinduoduo, will be reported this March. I'm going to take a look at those numbers. I would not disagree if they have great numbers and the market buys up Pinduoduo. However, I would also agree that even if market buys up Pinduoduo, there will be a clobbering at about 180 to 200. So no matter what happens in the marketplace, as long as you know what's going to happen and you know what you're going to do, what happens in the market is nothing. How you control yourself and your market, your sizes are the more important, crucial thing on whether you make money or not. You could make money while sleeping as long as you learn to allocate your spots. So from a base case scenario, I'm still waiting for Pinduoduo near $120. Will I get there, say a 30% or a 20% correction from here? It all depends whether in the next 3 months, if the Nasdaq falls about 11,000 or 12,000, and it all falls, it's possible if we actually see the Nasdaq failing to break your 13.3, failing to break your 14,000 in the next 3 months. So we could get a choppy action in the next 3 months. I do not discount the fact that we could actually get a choppiness in the next 3 months. However, let's take a look at some names. Twist Bioscience is also a name in the ARC Genomic Fund. Take note that since March, this went from $20 to $200. How I wish I only knew this 10x name actually. However, like all 10x names, they usually fall a precipitous drop of about 50%. So from 213, Twist Bioscience actually divided by 2 is about 106. The actual low of Twist was actually 105, rallying 20% last night to 125. Now, it's very clear to me that $150 for Twist will get a lot of sellers. And so I believe, if you're going to ask me, I'd say that the recent low would have a 50% rally to the peak, and then you'll get another selling bout. Meaning the sellers on Twist at about 160 above to 200 are correct for selling. That is an extension. After you 10x your money, typically you really have to sell your positions and buy back in on a potential larger pullback. You do take that risk. I do take that risk all of the time. After a 10x move, I wait for a 50% decline for me to enter back the same name. So Twist Biosciences, the proper name here was to have sold at 200 and 160. The proper buying entry here is 105 to 110. Today it's 125. If you don't have Twist Bio, you might as well wait it out. You might get a better entry point in the next coming days if the volatility will persist. Now, if the volatility does not persist and this stock rises to 150, take it as you may, you miss your chance for buying the dip. And so you wait out the next 3 months and see whether a higher low actually ensues. So it's possible also that 105 was the low of your Twist Bioscience. The next dip could be just 115 or 120. It could be a higher low because these names are in a secular trend and the drop was actually just a correction of an extension wave. So you could see that this is your greed, this is your euphoria, and in a way there was an insanity going on your genomic fund, which prompted Twist Bioscience to fall down. Let's take a look at some so-called laggards, Nvidia. I do like Nvidia a lot. If you actually study it, we shared a free Friday class pick on Nvidia, sharing that Nvidia was a buy even at $500. So today, Nvidia is trading at $500. You get to be the lucky person buying Nvidia at $500, even if the market corrects downward. I think that for the last 6 months, you could see from September till March, it is very clear that Nvidia has a strong support at about 470 and a strong resistance at about 570 to $600. So if you want a very, very clear just buy low and a sell high mode, Nvidia would be in your top of the curve. You like to buy near 500 below, all the way to 400 if you have to. You just buy more if you have to fall down to about 400. And I think the worst case of a 20% drop in Nvidia depends, of course, if your Apples, your Microsofts, your Amazons, your Facebooks fall down 20%, your NASDAQ falling to 11,000, which I'll put a probability of about less than 20% happening. So, because I do believe that the froth can actually just consolidate rather than correct deeply, Nvidia at about $500, even at 450, is a strong buy. So tonight, those who don't have Nvidia, are you late? No, I don't think so. Although you might not be able to sell 20% higher at about 585, if you are long term, I do think that you will. So making 20% in a year is almost predictable for Nvidia given their 5G, their place in the self-driving car revolution, their data centers, their gaming, everything you want in the secular trends, Nvidia has them. How about Humble Pay? You're seeing Bitcoin trading at about $54,000. Last night, you're seeing Riot, Mara, MSTR, all of these blockchains are going up. Your Kenan went up a lot. So how about Humble Pay, who uses blockchain? I think that this is far from being overbought, and this is actually more in the oversold. Take note that it rallied from about less than 5 cents to as high as $7. And this correction, which is a 50% drop from about $7.50 to about $3, more than 50% drop, to me has already been retested. It has been retested twice, and even if it has to retest at $2.90, my assumption is that your risk is actually just 30 cents here, but your reward is more than $3 here. So with a risk reward like that, what does Awesome 10X do? Nothing but buy. TSNPD at about 335 continues to get a buy rating from Awesome 10X. Now, we also gave a free Friday class on Humble Pay, so you might want to check that out. There are more companies that are good, and I actually shared it in the Awesome 10X channel. If you are seeing this one, I have been suggesting per stock on the solars. They have been running very strongly. After an extended move, they actually gave an opportunistic area last night. So take note that the solars like Sunrun finally corrected at a low price here, about $44. Last night was a first buy. Even if you have to buy it at 53, right? So the actual low of Sunrun was trading at 48. Last night reversed about 53, with of course your Tesla being your primary indicator. Tesla actually rallied to about 670. Tesla would have a resistance here at about 700. First resistance at 700. The next resistance at 743 and 800. So the higher Tesla go, the higher you expect a lot of your EVs to also go. So sell 1, sell 2, sell 3. As it goes higher, you want to sell. However, let's say it doesn't go higher and actually sell 1, sell 2, sell 3. That would also be fine. So you want to actually tranche your selling just as much as you were tranching your buying. Assuming you got in at 600, you were willing to buy at 550, buying at 500, all the way to about $400. That is how you don't predict, but you actually just cost average all your best winners. Now, there's a lot of reasons to buy the markets, but you have to be very careful what you are buying. So here in Faces Trader, here in Awesome 10X, we shared that some of our best ideas happen to be those EVs, electric vehicles. So we've been very bullish on the NIO numbers and the XPEV. Just wanted to share that NIO actually had an upgraded catalyst. NIO got a management call takeaway by Citi with a $57 target despite the neutral rating. You could see that when NIO felt about $35 below, we were buying there. So just a few things from this management call. NIO was attaching a 45% pilot rate for a selective package, 70%. Overseas market should have a very minor impact in terms of the financial performance. So NEO is strictly right now a China play. This year becomes important over the coming 3 to 5 years. China remains the largest revenue source. The chip supply shortage would gradually be fixed into third quarter 2021. Management believes that NEO will see little impact on production. The battery supply bottleneck is expected to fade from June to July 2021, and management does not see any possibility for a battery price hike within 2021. Production capacity is helped by NEO's sharing all three models across lines. Management expects the ET7 to share the same production capacity when it starts mass production in early 2022 as well. NEO expects the total production capacity to reach 150,000 units per year per shift after the completion, and NEO has plans for another sedan model after the ET7, positioning itself towards the lower end of the market, and in 2 to 3 years' time, the company intends to launch different models that fit the variable niche markets. So actually, guys, we have been sharing a lot XPEV NEO in our group, in our channel, in our free channels as well. And you could see that my bullish case on EV, this is one of my best conviction sectors. So I have here an article, or rather a tweet. I said, why bet on Tesla, electric vehicles, XPEV, and NEO, and so forth? Why do you want to expect EV to become mass market? I think it makes sense. Number one, it is cheaper maintenance-wise. Take a look at the battery charges. Electric car battery charging is actually set to slide by 67% in the next 10 years. Does this remind you of Moore's Law in the smartphone category? Don't you ask yourself why Apple smartphones also wants to engage with Apple cars? Because we are transitioning, just like smartphones did, from the fixed telephone to the mobile phone, from the diesel-fired, coal-fired cars and gas and pollutants to actually electric vehicles in the next century, or sorry, in the next decade. And so why do you actually want to not own the best cars in the world? The best companies that aren't just cars, but actually electric vehicle ecosystems. They have their batteries. For NEO's case, they have all. They've got the battery swap. They've got venture capital as well with the LiDARs, and they're all their entire company is not just an electric vehicle. And how could you not own Tesla when you have SpaceX? You've got Neuralink. You've got the Boring Company inside. You've got the Starlink. Yes, the satellite in Tesla. And they're also going to produce electric vans. They're perhaps going to introduce Tesla flying cars, eVTOLs. If only you listen to what Tesla's doing, they have the batteries. So they also have their own computer AI vision. They have OpenAI. So if you think about who will win in the next 10 years, you are seeing something like this. The range of OEMs declarations are set to grow on an S-curve, the new policies, and the EV30 at 2030 scenario. So if you are selling your Tesla and XPEV and NEO, you're actually asking yourself, why? Awesome 10X asks you, why do you want to sell? Why would anyone sell? Winners will win and we will win. Will you buy a $40,000 Jetsons or a $40,000 sexy electric car, or a diesel-fired car like the dinosaurs of the Flintstones? Hundreds of millions of cars will be produced. And the biggest clean energy movement is to eliminate and transition each gas-guzzling car into electric. And BIDU also is creating their own taxis, the Apollo taxis. We knew that since $99 BIDU. Since January 2020, they have those in Beijing. And they're just going to keep on growing. And so BIDU, even if we bought at $260 and it fell to about $240, and of course last night it grew again to $264, those are just buying opportunities. End of the day, are robo-taxis is going to win? And Awesome 10X believes, yes, it is a buy. Was NEO a great entry price at 35 to 38? Even if you bought it at 32, the answer is yes. Last night, NEO rallied to 42. Of course, you could see a very strong resistance at 50, and some would argue perhaps also selling at 44, because that's 50% from the recent low. Indeed, in the short term, everything can happen. This is your 64 resistance, this is your 56 resistance. And the people who got caught here at 44.48 might actually sell as well at 44.48. So we do see a resistance at 44.48 to NEO. However, any drops again on a crash would be bought by Awesome 10X, and I would assume that other electric vehicle believers will also buy your NEO. And how about Tesla? We said that 600 to 400 keep on buying. The actual low was 540. We did get at about 587 with the resistance call at about 700, 740, or even 800 in the short term. In the long term, of course, these names are perhaps going to 5x or 3x. So let's assume Tesla does go to about $2 trillion in the next 10 years. That would still be about $1,000 to $2,000. So think about where you want to bet. Now, CCIV is Lucid Motors. We also bought in $24 to $22. Where is the resistance? It's very clear. You've got a resistance at 28 and 32. So you just need to know your spots, guys. Understand what you're buying. ACTC, which is your Proterra bus, actually fell down to about $15, $14. We were trying to buy there. And last night, this already rallied about 10% to about $17, right? So we do see that there will be resistances here about $20. So the people might actually trade a portion, about 30% or 50% of their capital as a trade, while 50% of their other capital as a real core hold. So as the market embraces volatility, you simply need to know what you're buying and what you're going to willingly trim. Your XPEV reported earnings on March 8th, very strong numbers, 577% increase in revenues, a good long-term investment. I do not waver on my commitment to the electric revolution. Now, I might have high prices and low prices, but at the long term, these are all winners. And that price at about $27, $28, I did enter there. Last night, it opened and closed at about 31. Do I think it has leeway to go to 39 or 30% higher? I think the answer is yes. So whether it goes to 39 or just stops at about 36, the risk is still small versus the potential rewards of these names. So XPEV is far from being a chase. It is very oversold. So there are more companies that are interesting. Actually, I did chart a lot, and this is just a sample of those potential supports and potential resistances. Whether you're investing in, say, Teladoc or telehealth, right, or some SaaS names like Zoom. So what you want to do is actually buy near the support and sell above a resistance. And given that the market seems to have bottomed, at least in the short term, I do believe that some names will falter, but some names will actually come out very stronger. And those who concentrated on the right sectors, on the right names, will get rewarded. So it's 33 minutes. I hope that you learned something. And there are some questions. I'll answer only the global market questions. I know that there are so many opportunities to buy right now, but what would be a reasonable buying price for Roblox? Roblox, I believe in it, but I think that it's going to open up $27 billion market cap. I might actually not buy, but if it's going to be within, say, $20 billion, I might enter. I think there will be an entry opportunity. Don't be afraid. Like example, I didn't buy a firm when it got listed very high. I didn't buy Airbnb when it got listed very high. I didn't buy Snowflake when it got listed so high. So these are companies that I do like, but they got so expensive. Take note what happened. After IPO, this is what happened to Snowflake. $200 rallied to 400. Sure, they made 100%, only to fall back at 200. Affirm also did the same. From about 90, rallied to 150, and then falling back here to $80, where it's more appetizing to me. So I think that I'll be willing to buy around 25 to about $20 billion for Roblox. Because anyway, at the end of the day, do I believe in the metaverse? I do believe yes. So I like Unity, I like Metaverse, I do believe in it. However, I won't just, this is the thing that I don't want to do. I don't like buying 100% higher. So my assumption is that Roblox will open 100% higher tonight, which renders me at a no buy zone. Hi, is BNGO good for long term? Yes, I agree. Actually, I've been telling some people that I'll be willing to buy BNGO Bio-Nanogenomics around 5 plus levels. And I think some of them got in, but I do think that here about $9.90, you would get a seller. So I was looking at the buy price here about $6 to about $5. Indeed, that happened in just Friday. So Friday, Monday, Tuesday, you are seeing already a strong rebound of about 60% if you were buying it at the lows. Just like if you bought Nano Dimension, which is what I like. So BNGO, I like it in the genomic sequencing space, yes. So however, if you're gonna chase this, you are already late at about 10% upside already. Perhaps next week or next day, you might see a resistance already at 990. In fact, last night, some people might have sold some BNGO already after a move of about 65%. Last night, actually, some EHang went up 60% already. You could see that the drop was about $29, rally to 46. I do think that there will be some resistances for your EHang here about 48 to $52. So be careful chasing, but I would love to buy some EHang back if I could get in $41 below. So this is an eVTOL player that I'll be willing to buy. It got shorted by Wolfpack, but this is a company that I think had the retest on the exact support here at about $30. So congrats to those who got in at $30. You get an easy 50% move in just 2 days. But I think that there will be more glory if you perhaps see a consolidation here, higher low. It could be a consolidation at $40 above, or it could actually meet some resistances for at 50. So we need to see and let the market speak for us. Do you look at ARC-F, the fintech? Do you go look at it? Do you see going it to 65? So far, actually, with fintech, I personally believe in buying just TSNPD. For fintech, I do like some SPACs, but I sold some of those as well. So SPACs, I have some BFT before, but I sold it already. I think this is a lower high for BFT. This is PaySafe. FTOC could be a lower high as well. So any rallies of FTOC near about $13 might be sold. So 1085 is a low price. 11.5 is a low price for FTOC. So right now, the price of FTOC is still too low. So I wouldn't sell there. But if it rallies to about $13 above, FTOC might, aka Pioneer, might get sold. Square, in my view, is still expensive. So at $240, I think it is more of a sell call. I'm willing to buy, say, 160. So I don't just buy any price. I'm very price discriminatory when I'm buying a company. So I'm not looking at ARC-F, but I do look at individual fintech names. So I'm not really an ETF player, to be honest. Like the NASDAQ is there, ARC-K is there, ARC-F is there, ARC-G, but yeah. Do you know anything about Verb Technology? Is it a good buy? Do you know anything about Verb? Verb Technology? No, unfortunately, I wasn't able to know what Verb Technology is. What is Verb Technology? Verb Technology is a company that is rapidly emerging as business-focused interactive video sales, including live stream e-commerce. It's up 24% with other industry players. Okay, let's read that. Investing in Verb Technology company. So I don't know about Verb. Thanks for asking. So let's take a look at Verb. So it was up 24% a couple of days ago. So Verb has rallied from about $1 to about $3. Typically, you do get a sell-off after a 3x move. So it has recently dropped about 50%, a pullback nonetheless. 160 rallied to $2. You've got just from a chart perspective, you've got these as your first resistance, about $2.40, just matching here in the resistances here. Prior support, and in the last 5 years, this has been in a doldrums from about $1 to $2.40. So I'll be very careful about this company. I don't know what it is, so I don't really get to buy with a market cap of $100 million only. So it's a very micro cap. So it's in the small cap region. They're talking about, what does it do? What does Verb do? So let's go to finviz.com and see what Verb Technology does. But in the $100 million space, right now, because the market is very much looking for values and high quality, I might stick to companies that I have high conviction on. In terms of like $100 million market caps, I would say that ABML is a company that I'm willing to buy. So I got in there. And in the $1 billion categories, I do have some names, but Verb Technology just happens to be not something that I studied as I studied about. Um, yeah, what they do is they're a SaaS name, so it's a SaaS company. Non-digital services such as printing, fulfillment services provides its products for large print associations. Founded in 2014, about 6 years ago. Their revenues are just $10 million. So 10 times price to sales. For 10 times price to sales and high growth, I'd rather go for and predictable growth and high gross margins. This is just what? Gross profit of 50%. I would not get into Verb Technology if you're going to ask me. I'd rather just own Facebook. There are other companies that are trading at 8 to 10 times price to sales with predictable growth and cash flows. I don't think I need to gamble with Verb. Any thoughts on Grow Generation? I find Grow Generation right now a little bit expensive. So although Grow Generation rallied last night to about $45, I think that we are nearing a resistance. If it rallies about 52, you get sold off. Yes, there is a support here at about $40. I did expect a support to come at about 40 to 31. It did get a supported here about 32. But just like NEO will get some resistance about 50 area, I think this is a 30 to 50 area. So my assumption is that this will get a range bound action. I don't think you'll see it go 60 or $70. So you might see a lower high somewhere here at about 48 for Grow Generation. And then you'll get perhaps if the market drops, you'll see a lower high, whether it breaks $40, could go 36, you get an entry point again. So with cannabis names, I think that even if Grow Generation is a hydroponics and indoor farming solution with their stores, right? Because you could buy, they're a pick and shovels play. You can buy your LED lights with Grow Generation and so forth. I think that there are so many players right now. There's a competition. Grow Generation versus Indoor Harvest. From a cannabis play, I'd rather have INQD. Actually, I'm a little bit sad that Interactive Brokers doesn't allow me to get INQD because I really wanted to get in. I do think that this is a very undervalued name. I do think this goes 5 cents. So from a 1 penny, could go 5 cents to 10 cents. Actually, this is an OTC play, Indoor Harvest. They're partnered with Freight Farms and they're doing indoor farming solutions. I would rather buy some $100 million below companies. And in that case, Indoor Harvest is one of the cannabis names that are less than $10 million. It's actually just less than $5 million. So I'd rather go for some of those names rather than with Grow Generation. I find your WG quite expensive. I actually feel also, guys, that Desktop Metal is expensive in my view. So compare that with Markforged. I'd rather get Markforged. So Desktop Metals rallied last night. I do think that $16 was the same support here. So I outlined the buy there. Even if you had to buy 14 to 16, good job for you, right? There were a lot of supports at 14 and 16, but very strong resistances in my view here at about $20. So if you are not yet sold, take note that Desktop Metal had an extension move at about 20 to 33. I think those are really being sold down. And this sell-off is just going to be a choppy move. So you just have to pick your spots. All right. So thank you very much. It's already 45 minutes. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are always giving a lot of classes. And we do have this global daily market update. I hope you're doing well in your portfolio. Do not let the market take all of your gains. but neither are you a chicken to actually not see the opportunities that are presented in front of you. You could see that BIDU is a great opportunity. You could see Nvidia is a great opportunity. C Limited at about $207, $209 last week. That was a great opportunity to load up. So you really have, guys, so many opportunities that there is no excuse not to buy the secular winners in the next 10 years. Don't think about the next 10 days. Think about the fact that if it's oversold, at some point it will bounce. We are happy to announce that it did bounce, but of course, next few days, that oversold will not get oversold anymore. Then it gets overbought, and then you sell the overbought region. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.